Hello, this is Yaro Starak, and welcome to an EJ Insider special presentation on how to position your first offer. I put together this short video because I want to clarify an issue I keep coming up against over and over again as I've coached people on how to start an online business, in particular with blogging and email marketing. It's a question that obviously gets answered over and over again, which is how to position an offer. And it's something that very rarely do people get right the first go. And I find I have to create clarity in people's minds on how to go about this process. So I want to help do the same for you right now and teach you how to position your first offer. Now, the important thing, if you understand here, this is your first offer. This is not how to choose a subject for your business, although it's very related to that. It's the first step of refining what your business is going to be about. What we're doing here is deciding on what are we going to go to the world for the very first time and ask people to take an action. That action usually is to opt into an email list. That's the first time when you start building a presence online where you say to people, I want you to demonstrate your interest in what I have by giving your email address in exchange for something I'm offering. That is your first offer. That often leads to a product offer as well. You might call that your first product offer. You've got your first free offer and your first product offer. They're very much related. They're your first sequence, your first funnel. From that, your entire business can be born. But the positioning of the first offer is something that really needs to be refined and is a difficult area to deal with because it often comes from a place where you have a lot of insecurities and ambiguity and you just don't know yet what your business is going to be about. So this is where it is very difficult to get refined enough to make it work. So let's look at improving that. So first of all, one of the entry-level mistakes that people make is the idea of being an every solution for every problem. Amazon.com is almost that. They are a company that sells almost every product you can think of. So they have the benefit of being well established, been around for almost 2 decades now, and they're huge. And that's why they can do that. But obviously we can't. We're not going to go out there and offer a solution to every problem. And we know that. Most people are very aware they can't be everything. If you take a step down, you've got subject matter experts. So you've got like a Tony Robbins or an Oprah Winfrey who are the top of the field for the spaces they operate in, and they're very much subject matter experts. But when you look at the subjects they cover, there's still a lot of diversification. You've got Tony covering health and wellness, mindset. He's a success coach, obviously, so he's teaching success, personal development, losing weight, investing for your future, having a family, relationships. He kind of covers everything about personal success. So there's a range of subjects there that's certainly not narrow enough for a first offer. And Oprah's the same. She's covered a whole range of subjects over the years too. Now these two have huge platforms and they've been around for a number of years. So obviously you can't really compare yourself to them. If you bring yourself back a bit and look at the experts in your industry, you might be looking at someone like myself in the blogging space, or you might have some kind of expert or author or speaker or trainer that you follow. It could be anyone. It could be maybe in the personal development, you're looking at an Eckhart Tolle or maybe a Brendan Burchard. I know growing up on the internet, I looked a lot to people like Richard Sefrin and Eben Pagan. Maybe you're following Marie Forleo or countless other experts who are on there they all have marketplaces and they go after. And if you look at their content, you look at their products, they too have a range of products and services. So there's a bit of a pitfall here. There's a trap, and this is the important point. You're probably trying to emulate these people. Maybe not Tony and Oprah, maybe that's very, very big picture for you, but you want to get to the point where you're at least have some sort of established information marketing business, and you're looking at people in your industry, maybe potentially competitors, certainly your mentors and people you admire, and you're analyzing what they do. And they do seem to have a range of products, a range of subjects they cover in their blogs or podcasts or YouTube channels. And they have more than one offer. So that's a little bit counterintuitive to what we're trying to do to get started. So how do we get started? Well, it's important to understand that all of these people, when they first got started, also had the same problem. They didn't have platforms, they didn't have audiences. They couldn't expect to go out there with any message and reach hundreds of thousands of millions of people like they might do today. They only had a very narrow potential audience. It probably cost them money. They had a tiny bit of money to invest in advertising or a tiny bit of time to create content, or maybe get a chance to speak on stage or go to a networking event. So they had to have a laser focused first offer as well. So at that point, which is where you probably are at now, we're all trying to follow this one piece of advice, which is to find your niche. I'm going to argue in this presentation, though, that this is not narrow enough. So niche marketing, while certainly a sound way to go about building a business, and your business is about a niche, don't get me wrong about that, your first offer needs to be even more narrow than that. It needs to be specialized. You have to have a specialized first offer, and that means it has to cover one thing. So this is a very challenging thing to get right when you're first getting started, because you're trying to come up with something that can ultimately help you prove that you've got a market that could lead to a business, which is when you could potentially cover lots of subjects. But to start with, you only get to cover one. So how do you figure out which subject to cover? Well, first of all, I want to cover some common mistakes when it comes to preparing your first offer. And this is something I've seen over and over again, so I feel very close to this. People like multiple subjects. You probably feel you have an interest and a passion for multiple subjects. You could potentially create first offers on a range of things. You might be thinking about potentially having more than one blog, more than one business, or maybe one blog covering multiple subjects. And that's fine, because you potentially could do that. The thing is, you can't do that for your first offer. First offer must be laser focused. If you try and help people with too broad a subject, again, if you're pushing yourself to be more of an every solution and not a laser focused, single-minded solution, people will not pay attention to you. You won't be specialized enough. They'll ignore you because they don't think that you're a good match for them. You need to find a very specific audience about one subject, in particular one problem. 2, you think a category is a niche. So a category is often a first way to start niching yourself down. So you might go, well, I'm a weight loss professional, or I help people to lose weight. Then you pick a category within that. So, okay, well, I'm a practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, so I'm going to help people use NLP to lose weight. That's your category. Therefore, that's your niche. Therefore, that's what your first offer is about. That's really good. That's some good refining, but it's not far enough. You need to take things further. You need to get even more specific than that. Now, low self-esteem and a lack of confidence is by far the biggest problem I come up against with absolute beginners, because if you're supposed to go out there with some kind of expertise or some sort of specialized information, if you don't believe you're an expert, or if you don't believe in the quality of your information, it's very difficult to go out there and pull this off. Now, I'll give you a little hint here. Right now, there's a group of people who consider you an expert. If you find the right group of people, then you will have the knowledge, the information, the powerful first offer that really appeals to them. It's going to take potentially some time for you to believe that, but the first step you have to get right is finding the right people. When you find the right people, it'll be very apparent and very quick. You'll see that you can help them, because they'll start saying to you very upfront, very specifically, how much you are helping them. So that will help boost your self-esteem and boost your confidence. The problem is, if you're going after the wrong audience or too broad an audience, you're going to get that negative reinforcement, because people won't pay attention to you, or they'll say your information is too easy or not for them. And you'll think, well, that's because I'm not an expert. You are an expert, or you are a specialist to the right people. You just have to find them and pick the right people to help. 4, an inward focus. So a lot of people, when they're first going out there with an offer, or at least brainstorming what kind of offer, what kind of niche to go into, they look inside themselves first at what they're passionate about, what they feel they're good at, what they enjoy, what they want to study, what they want to explore, maybe some results they've had in their life. Now, that's not a bad thing, but it's the wrong first step. The first step is an outward focus. First of all, look at the people who you could serve, and then look inward to how you can serve them. So look at the marketplace you're going to go in, look at the people in the marketplace, look at what they're spending money on, look at who's serving them now, what are they buying now in the marketplace. And then when you identify the group of people you're going to focus on, turn inward and look at how you can serve them. What's going to be your strength? What's going to make you different from the other people in that marketplace? And lastly, you don't have true empathy. In order to come up with a perfectly targeted first offer with that really laser focus, you do need to know the emotional background, the motivation, the reason why a person is trying to make a change in their life or trying to achieve something, get something, improve something. Now, if you don't understand who they are, why they're doing it, what their motivation is, well, then obviously you can't come up with a laser targeted first offer. In fact, the first offer very much is a test to help you gain better true empathy. But there are steps you can take to get closer to the level of true empathy you need if you can change the way you think about how you go about coming up with your first perfect offer. I have 3 questions that I want you to ask yourself about your target market, your target audience, that will help you to refine your first offer. So your first offer is that point where you say, I have something for you, join my email list and I'll give you it in return. You're saying I'm going to help you solve a problem with some kind of information in return for you demonstrating that you want this information and you're motivated enough to join my email list and begin that relationship building process. It also carries forward to the first product offer or service offer you make, since generally people join an email list to get a solution to a problem that you provide through information, and then you provide more solutions in your products and services that follow it. What we're focused on here is that initial first offer. And understand that this is a testing process, especially if you're just doing this for the first time. You don't have the subject yet for your business. You're doing this process because it'll allow you to come up with assumptions about the necessary laser targeted focus you need to present good first offers. And you might need more than one. The first one may not work, but by going through these 3 questions, you'll get to the point where you'll have something specific enough that you can go out there, test it, and see if people respond and how they respond. It's all about you developing the necessary true empathy for you to refine this until you get a first offer that works. And a first offer that works is simply one where lots of people sign up and lots of people buy your products to give you the cash flow to keep building a business behind servicing those same people. Even if you already are successful, you have offers that work, or you've got some sort of target market, a running business, go through these 3 questions now with me and ask yourself them and see if you know the answers. Because if you're running a successful business, you will have some sort of insight and you should be able to answer these questions. If you don't, then maybe you need to find out more about your market and potentially run a new offer to find answers to these questions or to your assumptions about your audience. Number 1, this is the first question, the most important one. What is the strongest pain? What is the strongest pain point that your target audience has? Now, there are lots of problems that people have, and no doubt you have an idea about a solution that you provide. You might say you're going to help people to lose weight. That's not a pain point, that's a solution to a problem. The pain point is, what are they feeling and experiencing as a result of having that problem? And that's where there is variability. People who have excess weight, who are overweight, who are fat, who are obese, have a range of pains. One could be physical pain, simply from the health issues that arise from being overweight. Another one could be a self-esteem issue where you feel very bad about yourself because of your presentation in the mirror. Another one might be a similar issue with your appeal to the opposite sex when it comes to dating, and therefore you're not meeting that need because of your physical appearance, your overweight appearance. So those are different pain points though. And what you need to do is identify what is the strongest pain point in your audience. Now, there are many, and you probably will service many of those pain points over the time. You'll probably talk about your products and services as having solutions to these many pain points. But with this first offer, you need to pick one pain point, and it needs to be the most painful one that you believe, your assumption, based on the best level of research you can do at this stage. What do you think is their strongest pain? That is what your first offer is going to target. So you can identify that first. Then the second question to ask is, what is your best idea? That best idea is your solution to that biggest pain point. Notice here the first step with the pain point is looking outward to your audience and how are they suffering or how are they motivated to change something about their life. The second question is turning inward and asking you, what's your best idea to help them? Those two things are obviously two sides of the same coin, but it's important you see the sequence here. What is the strongest pain point comes first? Identify this first, then tie in your best idea to solve it. And your first offer you make will basically be these two things. I'm going to help you solve this biggest pain point, and I'm going to give you my best idea to do so. Obviously, that's not the exact language you use, but conceptually, that's what your first offer is. The third and final step of this process is, what is your best proof point to demonstrate that your best idea has actually helped people solve this pain point. This could be your own case study. This could be people you've helped. This could be some example from society. You just need to find whatever right now you have as a best proof case study, whatever it is. It can even be just a few examples to show that other people have done something, even if you weren't involved with them at all, but they went through the process that demonstrates your best idea. That's proof, and that just slams home your offer. So your offer is these three things in this order. Think about answers to these questions. What is the strongest pain point that your audience currently has that you're going to target with your first offer? What is your best idea to help them solve that pain point, to get a solution? And what's the best proof you have to demonstrate that your best idea actually works? That is the three-step formula for a laser-targeted first offer. In fact, an entire first funnel sequence can be based just on those three things. And in fact, you will do better than having a generic offer that attempts to solve lots of problems, address lots of pain points, give lots of ideas. If you have a singular focus like this, especially with your ideas around what you're testing, then you'll do better because you'll find answers. If you go out to the world and say, this is the pain point, this is my solution, here's my proof, but no one jumps in, then something's wrong. You actually haven't identified the pain point, or you haven't come across with a good solution to it. Something's out of whack, but at least you've tested it and you've got some kind of information to help you come to a conclusion. Maybe you have to target a different pain point, same solution, different pain point. So instead of talking about the pain point about losing weight because of their concern for their self-esteem, you say it's concern for their longevity. And maybe that's more of a fear, more of a pain point, even though you're still providing the same best solution that you have for losing weight. Now, it's going to take some time. This is obviously not something you come to immediately, but this is what you're doing. This is what you're going through to come up with a brilliant first offer. And it, like I said, might take 2, 3, 4, or 5 brilliant first offers until you find the one that actually works. Then you can expand later. Your first offer is about going to the market with something to learn about them and to find buyers to prove that you have something that works. You're expanding from that, and that's when you get to do things like cover different subjects, talk about different pain points, look at your other ideas, not just your best idea, but other good ideas you've got, and you get to explore the whole range of subject matters and products and services that you can offer, but that's over time. At the beginning, you have to find out whether you've got buying customers, and to do that you need a laser targeted offer. If you're trying to provide a solution to everybody, if you're trying to follow perhaps your mentors or other leaders in your marketplace and you're jumping from different subjects, you haven't got continuity, you haven't got consistency, you're not targeted enough, people will not buy your products. They won't opt into your email list, and you won't build a successful business. You won't even know whether you've got the right market because your messaging won't be targeted enough. So I want you to have a very clear focus on those 3 questions and then thinking about expanding later. So to reiterate one last time, what is the strongest pain point? What is your best idea? And what is your best proof? Then expand later. Okay, so that's the end of this somewhat short presentation, maybe slightly longer than I planned, but I hope you got something from it, regardless of where you're at. Certainly, if you're at the start of this process and you're sort of struggling with what to go to market with initially, what's your first offer, I hope this has helped you to First of all, eliminate perhaps some things you've been thinking about when I talked about those common mistakes, and then help you ask the right questions to come up with a really powerful first offer. And of course, I'm available to you as your coach in whatever program you're working with me in right now. That's it for this presentation on how to construct a powerful first offer. My name is Yarrow, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.